If you ask me, right, COVID is not so, I mean, yeah, it is what's called, a physical ailment. But the effects that COVID has had on our psyche outweighs anything that it could have ever done to the physical body. Like it went inside. They call it corona for a reason. It went inside of our crown and it completely disconnected us from ourselves, from each other, and from our own spirits. It disconnected us from all of that for a second because of the fact that we were confined away from everybody. You couldn't talk to nobody. You weren't supposed to be going outside, even though some people are still going outside. But you're not supposed to be going outside. It was supposed to be a time of isolation, a complete time of just isolation. And right now, they're still pushing this thing. They're still taking you back to that time, even though we know that we're not how we were before. And we're a little bit more social now, but now things are weird because we have all these weird personalities and stuff that have happened and that have shifted within us throughout the times between COVID and now. Everybody's personality is like, we're all trying to figure out what the hell happened because that had an effect on everybody on the planet just in different ways. You got some people that became a little bit more empathic. You got some people, they became a little bit more narcissistic. You got some people, they're smack dab in the middle. You got some people, they became more depressed and introverted, or they became more extroverted and anxious because they need to please and they're a people pleaser or overt pleaser. All of these things were already there, don't get me wrong, but they worsened with COVID because we really had no choice but to just sit with ourselves for a second. And we were forced to sit with ourselves for a second and see everything that's wrong with us. Everything that's wrong with us. The things that you can't ignore it anymore because it's just you and God. Literally. That's it. It's just you and God. That's it. And so you're just sitting there in the spirit, realizing everything that's wrong with you, every flaw, every blockage, everything comes back up. Everybody didn't really have much to do but meditate. However it is that you did your meditation. You could have been somebody that reads, somebody that writes. Maybe you liked to do your art. Whatever it is that you did after the whole work from home thing. That's you. We all had a chance to see the you within all of us. The unfiltered you. That's not just exciting. It's also scary. It's always a polarity with seeing every part of yourself. A lot of people probably weren't even emotionally or mentally ready for that either. A lot of people probably weren't even ready to do it, and yet you still were forced into doing it. A lot of people ended up going crazy. A lot of crazy deaths and killings and all this stuff. People quite literally started to lose bits of their screws in their head. So what do we think that this did to human relationships? It makes human relationships weird now. Now people are much more comfortable doing things online, which I'm not like against making friendships and building community. I mean, I'm a YouTuber, so of course not. I'm not against it. But what I'm saying is, why is that the go-to versus going out into the world and just taking a chance on fate, on I'm going to meet the right person at the right time because that's how timing goes, type of thing. And then believing that that's what's going to happen. And then you attract that. So I'm just wondering like why we don't do that anymore. We don't take the time to come together and bring real physical relationships where you are having real one-on-one time with people. That type of thing is gone. There's all these biases around the personality itself. I want to label this person fully a narcissist. I'm going to just, all I see is the narcissist in them. I don't see any good traits in them. I don't see any good at them at all. This person is just wicked, evil, just, nah. And that's not even the reality of it, because if you start looking at yourself a little bit deeply, you'll start to understand that there were parts of you as well that could have been considered not fully narcissistic, but bits of narcissistic traits coming out within you. We all have that sometimes where we want to, it's inclined to us to want to be a little bit more selfish, which sometimes I've talked about before. Yes, there are some times where you're going to have to think about yourself first. But even in thinking about yourself, there's still a mirrored balance of thinking about the other person and their well-being as well. You can do both. You don't have to just, completely like sulk into self-gratification, But with that being said, we want to label somebody as one thing when there are spectrums within each and every personality. We know this. Psychology talks about it all the time. There's a spectrum with autism. There's a spectrum with ADHD. There's a spectrum with narcissistic personality disorder. There's a spectrum with schizophrenia. There's a spectrum with everything. Everything has a spectrum. And the more that we start to look at ourselves as human, the more we start to question, do neurotypicals exist? Let me just go ahead and say this. I'm going to get up off of this, but this is also something that I'm going to be talking about. So this is just like a little snippet of what I'm going to be talking about soon regarding the whole neurodivergent versus neurotypical. I feel like it's bullshit. That's just my opinion. To be honest, I feel like it's bullshit, and I'm going to tell you why. Do you know that one person, that one businessman, everybody thinks he has like the greatest head on his shoulders. He's super smart, so-called neurotypical, just a completely normal guy, right? When you start seeing his knee tap a little bit, his knee starts to vibrate a little bit, because he's nervous. That's stimming, baby. Everybody's stimming a little bit. So whether we want to believe it or not, we own some type of spectrum. You're on some type of spectrum. And the thing is, I feel like this is what puts people more outside of their bodies, more outside of their self. And what dims down their own self-discovery is because they are so afraid of being labeled as any type of neurodivergent, anything that isn't neurotypical. This is something, once again, that's causing separations within connections and relationships with each other. Always trying to, you're neurotypical, I'm a neurodivergent. Okay, well, did you talk to the person? Maybe y'all are not as different as you think. Maybe they're going to start looking at themselves and be like, okay, there's a couple of divergent things about my mind too. They start talking to you good enough. You're like, okay, well, maybe I'm not so weird after all. So I feel like these terms, yes, they are helpful terms to help you see where your soul is. But once we start to take these terms and we start to marginalize them, we're separating from each other again. And right now, this is not the time. Of course, the whole world ain't about to, just kumbaya and come together. That's not what I'm saying. But we need to start grouping up, finding your people, finding your tribe, finding, who resonates with you, because you're not going to resonate with everybody. That's just not how it goes. And that's okay. But when you're vibrating on a certain frequency, you find your people. They vibe to you. That's why we say this whole thing about your vibe attracting your tribe. That's not fake. That's a real thing. Your vibe really does attract your tribe. But if we don't know our vibe, then how are you going to attract anybody? You don't even know who you are. And now you're trying to find who you are as you're trying to figure out who the next person is. And then this ends up not working with our friendships, with our families, with our platonic relationships, our romantic relationships. These things end up ultimately not working because two people are still so stagnant and stiff in their way. They don't want to be like water with their self-discovery and with their journey. They don't want to be open-minded. They don't want to be vulnerable with somebody. They don't want to take the time to actually listen to somebody instead of, always talking type of thing. Taking the time to actually consider what somebody is saying and really listen, not just, have your ears open. These are a lot of things that I've seen, once again, rise with COVID. rise with corona, rise with the wrecking of the crown. So now it's making me think maybe that's where we need to start. Maybe we need to go back to our crown. And that's one of the most messed up things to do, Lord. Who that crown? The subconscious be having stuff that you don't be ready to pull out yet. And you just be like, like you don't even want to deal with it. You be like, oh no, why is that there? But it got to be done. It's the only way that we can connect to each other. And it's, it ultimately ends up bringing out the hero in all of us, because by going into yourself, you are saving other people. You're helping other people too, as long as you think of it that way. If you are going into something with the intent of this will glorify me, glorify only me, then it won't be like that. Then you won't see how you helping yourself helps others. But if you start to really want to see that happen in front of your eyes, like, hey, I did this type of shadow work, like I did this type of meditation on myself, and I realized that this is what I can do better for others. This is how I can approach others better. And ultimately, it will bring my own peace back. Once you go into something with that type of mindset, you find your people. They be like, hey, girl, hey, bro. You find each other in open arms. And there's a resonance that happens quick. Not on some love bombing type of thing, but there's just like a resonance. There's still slowness. They're still taking your time, because once again, there's still respect for the other individual. So we don't love bomb, but we allow things to build how it wants to build. So if it builds a little bit quickly, naturally, and, contently on both of your ends, then it's okay. And so what I will say though is, I feel like this is something that a lot of people are already that are already starting to see that anyway. A lot of people are starting to see, hey, I need to, I'm an introvert, but I need to alchemize the extroverted side of me, and I need to go outside a little bit more, get a little bit out my box, even if you're just starting slow and you're just going to the library, because you go to the library, you meet people too. You really do. You go to the library, and if somebody is picking a book that you like, or y'all, you in the same genre wrote, it happens, you guys. It really does happen. And another thing too, I feel like COVID also, from the isolation, made us a little bit afraid of putting in the effort to make the first move. Now, let me say this while my ass is talking. That is me. I am that. I'm that person. I'd be so scared, y'all. I'd just be like, but what if they think I'm awkward? But what if they think I'm weird? But what? So I'm saying this because this is something that I know. This is something that I go through. Like, I'm not just saying this. I go through this. I'd be so scared. Like, it takes all of the lioness courage in me to just, hello. Hi. It takes all of the courage. So I feel it, but I'm starting to get out of that too. I force myself sometimes these days. Me personally, like, I start off with a smile. That's what helps me. Like, they say when you smile, the world smiles back. I've always been great at just giving a smile. So personally, I'll just smile at somebody. And then if they want to talk to me, they'll talk. But in my mind, it's like me taking the initiative, because I'm directing my energy towards you. So if you're an introvert, honestly, and you don't really want to give the first move, I say just smile. They smile back, it's already a vibration. It's already something happening. You ain't got to do the extras, okay? Just do what I do, because I feel it. I feel it. I'm shy sometimes. But I really did enjoy actually making this video. I hope that this encouraged everybody to just get out there, be silly, take a chance. All somebody is gonna do is think that you're goofy. What? Like, okay, that's it. Give that smile. Ask somebody for that time, or to grab that coffee or whatever it is. Go out and do something that will put you in the ways of meeting your folks and vibrating with your folks, because we really do need each other, you guys. We don't have to, idolize the idea of being around people, but it really is a problem not being around anybody. That's never been good for anybody, to just stay, away from people and bring your relationships into simply just the devices that you have. And even with this whole thing that is going on with AI companions, like, don't get me wrong, I love me a good AI story. I'll do like a AI role play story. They got like the little interactive novels and stuff like that, but that's how far I'll take it. I'll ask Gemini a question about what's the best seasoning to use on my food. Okay, and that's about it. But you are just that. You are AI. And they're trying to, that's one thing. Once again, it's almost like they're doing a corona effect again with this damn AI. Something to keep you in the house or keep you away from others, distracted and disconnected from everybody. So let's just take the time to just stay connected to each other. We need each other actually right now more than ever, because it's crazy as hell right now. I don't even we're gonna save all of that for another video, but y'all know it's crazy as hell out here. I don't even gotta get into that right now. We'll get into it another time. But I love y'all, and I hope that y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll be back. I will be back. It's your Hey Yoga Mystic. I love you.